Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, back again for another video. Here today we're going to be doing a recommendation video. So in this video we're going to be doing 5 of the most underrated Blu-rays, and I've got one 4K that have been released in the year of 2021. So these are 5 physical media releases that have come out this year in 2021 that I think have been slept on, that I think that not enough people know about, that more people need to buy, they need to own, they need to watch. And yeah, so you're not going to find a lot of big mainline titles in what I'm going to cover here today. None of the big releases, none of the big 4K releases, not the main stuff you'll see at Walmart or Best Buy, even though I do think I bought a couple of these at Walmart and Best Buy, so disregard what I just said. But yeah, it's going to be some more like along the lines of just more off the beaten path titles, and ones that I think that are just super underrated, and I think that the spotlight needs to be shown on them. I think more people need to know about them, and I think that more people need to buy these and put them in their collection. So of all the ones that we're going to go over here today, the 5 that we're going to go over, they're all pretty damn cheap, and I've got them on Amazon. So I'm gonna tell you how much they are, and then I'm gonna leave the links for purchase in the description below. They're just super underrated titles. I think more people, are they the best movies in the world? No, they're not, but they're just ones that not enough people talk about. They flew under the radar, and I think you need to know about them. So let's get into it. But before I get into it, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below of any of these that I cover here today. Which ones are you gonna purchase based on my recommendation? And also be sure to leave me some of your own recommendations. I'm always looking for recommendations for Blu-rays and 4Ks and just movies in general to watch, as if I don't have enough stuff to watch. But I just love getting recommendations from you guys, so definitely leave that in the comment section below. And also be sure to turn on those bell notifications for all future videos. So, okay, I got all the YouTube stuff out of the way. Let's get into the actual recommendations. And the first one I'm going to recommend to you guys is from the label of Scream Factory. This is an IFC Midnight collaboration, you know, one of those Scream Factory releases. This one came out, I believe, in March, and it's called Rent-A-Pal. So again, this isn't something that's like necessarily the most innovative movie I've ever seen in my life, but I don't know, I thought the premise of this was super cool, super creative. It's got Will Wheaton in it, and he's absolutely, right there on the TV, he's absolutely has to be considered for like maybe one of the top 10 villains of 2021. And he doesn't really do much as a character other than stay on this TV and just kind of repeat himself over and over again. So basically, this is set in the early 90s. Yes, set in 1990. So this is like a psychological thriller. There's this guy, he lives at home with his mom. He doesn't have any friends. And there's this tape company or some kind of place. It's like a dating service, I guess, of the 90s. So you go there, you film yourself, and then like it gets sent to like somebody that matches your attributes, your likes, your dislikes. It's basically like eHarmony or something. I'm explaining this terribly, but it's basically like an eHarmony type service. So he goes in there, he films himself, it gets sent to a girl. She decides if she wants to date him based on what she sees in the tape. So he goes in there, he records himself, keeps going in there. He keeps doing a horrible job. Like he does this really awesome like take where he's basically like breaking down like what he's looking for in a woman, like the perfect woman, and just giving this really like honest, like really like heartfelt interview. And they like say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we weren't recording the whole time. We forgot to press the record button." And then he tries to do it again, and he just messes everything up, and it's completely doofus in the second take. So that was kind of interesting. And yeah, so basically like no girl wants to go out on a date with him. He's, you know, schlubby and lives at home with his mom. He's a nerd, all that stuff. But he finds this tape just sitting in this like bin of tapes, like in the lobby of the place. And one of the tapes is Rent-A-Pal. So basically, the idea of Rent-A-Pal is it's a friend on tape. So you take it home, you put it in your VCR and play it, and it's like a friend that has a conversation with you through the videotape. So it's all pre-recorded, but you know, all of his stuff is scripted. He's saying all the lines, but it's done so in a way that you can actually like interact with him, have a conversation. And Will Wheaton plays the guy that's on tape. So again, it's not like a real character in the film, but it sort of kind of feels that way as it goes on. And it's really hinges on the performance of the guy that's in the movie. And I cannot, Brian Landis Folkens, I think is his name. So he's great in this movie. He does a great job of just making you feel like this guy he's interacting with is alive and like an actual real character, just like through his interaction. So basically it gets intense with him. The guy's like manipulating him. He's like going crazy, just watching this tape over and over again. You know, it gets to a point where it's like, is there something like supernatural going on here? Is this guy really like alive? Like, is he really communicating with the character in the movie? And it kind of goes back and forth. And anyway, I'm taking too long in this movie, but it's a really good movie. It's a really good psychological thriller. It goes in some really dark directions. The final act of this movie is absolutely insane. And I think it's super awesome. So Will Wheaton in this movie is great. So this also has some really cool special features. And I did get this with the slipcover. One of the special features is actually the guy. You get to watch the Rent-A-Pal tape, and you turn it on. It's Will Wheaton sitting there, and you can do the same thing, like interact with him and stuff. So that's pretty cool. They actually put that in there. I thought about watching that, but then I thought against it because I was like, I really don't feel like going insane tonight. But you can get Rent-A-Pal right now, guys, if you want to order it for $13.89 off of Amazon.com. It's a great price. You maybe will get the slipcover with it. Maybe you won't. But it's also on DVD for $8.49 if you don't want to spend the extra on DVD. And I think if you don't even want to buy it on physical media, although I do always encourage physical media, it used to be on Hulu, so you might be able to watch it on there. I just want people to watch this movie because I think it's super awesome, and it's definitely one of the more underrated movies that I've seen this year. So getting into the next one, we're going to give Kino Lorber a little bit of love. Burt Lancaster. So this one came out at the beginning of 2021. It's called The Train. Starring Burt Lancaster and directed by John Frankenheimer. He directed Manchurian Candidate, 7 Days in May, Seconds Grand Prix, Black Sunday. So this is basically like a World War II like setting, period piece like type war film. It's like a train heist a little bit because they steal all of these paintings in the French Museum, and Burt Lancaster has to go to war basically to get them back. So I wasn't really familiar with Burt Lancaster, but he is kind of like classic action hero of the 60s. This movie's in black and white, but this is a really fun kind of like action adventure war film. Burt Lancaster is really good in it. And yeah, it was just a really fun movie that I watched this year from Kino Lorber. But I don't feel like a lot of people have really talked about it. And this has a really awesome slipcover, some really awesome artwork on it. And, you know, Kino Lorber doesn't always do the reversible cover art, but on these slipcover releases, they do. Still has the generic spine on it. But I'll go ahead and flip it for you since I got it. I don't know if Rent-A-Pal had reversible cover art, but yeah, The Train, you got the old like classic poster. So again, just a fun classic movie. I think a lot of people slept out on this one. It came out at the beginning of the year, and it kind of just felt like it came and went. This is one of the first reviews that I did on this channel, like way back at the beginning, January of 2021, when there wasn't like that much interesting at all coming out at the beginning of the year. So The Train, I recommend it. If you're into Kino Lorber films, you're into classic films, war films, definitely check that one out. You can get it for $16.79 right now, which is a good price for a Kino Lorber title, and you'll probably more than likely still get the slip with it. So let's move on to the next one. One of the next most underrated films of 2021. Not films, but Blu-ray releases, and that is The Final Countdown. This is a Blue Underground release. Look at that slipcover right there, the lenticular slipcover. This is a really interesting release. First off, the 4K transfer, Blue Underground does excellent work with all of their transfers. But this right here, I'm telling you guys, is one of the absolute best of this year. This blows all the studio releases we've been getting like out of the water. Like, this is better transfer. I remember I watched this around the same time as I watched Speed, which Speed's a really good transfer, but this one just head and shoulders above. This movie came out in 1980, I believe. Really interesting premise with this one. It's kind of like a Back to the Future type story of this aircraft carrier going back in time. It's set in the 80s and it goes back in time to the World War II area. It's on Pearl Harbor. So they go back to like right before the Pearl Harbor attack happens, and they have the option of warning everybody that the attack's going to happen or just letting it happen. And it kind of deals with that like type dilemma with them like deciding what to do. Do we change history? What's that going to cause if we change history? Goes into a lot of that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was interesting that this movie came out before Back to the Future. So it predates Back to the Future, but it was doing some really interesting time stuff. And I had no idea this was a time travel movie before I watched it, even though the cover kind of gives it away with the portal. And yeah, it kind of blew my mind when I watched it. But you got Kirk Douglas in this movie. He's always great. Martin Sheen's in this film. He's great as well. Like I said, cool lenticular cover. It's a really cool release. from Blue Underground. I think they had a previous Blu-ray of this, and you get a nice booklet in here. You actually get the soundtrack to the film as well. I think that this is a 3-disc set, so you get the Blu-ray, you get the 4K, and you get the soundtrack to it as well, which is a really cool touch. And then you get, you know, the 2 reversible cover arts with this release. So I think that this is one of the best releases of the year, and it's one that nobody talks about. Like barely anybody ever talks about Blue Underground, just how great their transfers are. Like I watched Zombie this year for the first time. That was an excellent transfer as well. So the Final Countdown I would absolutely recommend. And I know back when I reviewed this, it was like almost $60 to purchase this, and everybody was like, hell no, we're not going to pay $60 for a physical media release, a new 4K. I absolutely get that. I understand that. Right now, guys, I'm telling you right now, get on Amazon. It is $35.70. Definitely one of the best price points that this has been all year. So definitely recommend this release at that price point. I mean, look at that. Look at the lightning. Just, it's so awesome. Definitely recommend this at that price point. It's absolutely worth it. So let's get into the 4th 2021 Blu-ray recommendation. And this is one, like I said, not all of these are like the best films I've ever seen in my life. They're just solid Blu-ray releases that I feel like more people need to check out. And this one is The Stylist from Arrow Video. So I'm giving Arrow Video a little bit of love. And Arrow Video doesn't just do what I like about Arrow Video, and sometimes don't like about them because sometimes they're not great movies. You know, they don't just do like the classic, like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s horror movies, action movies, westerns, all that kind of stuff. They don't just do that. They also release like new films as well. And The Stylist was one of the new films they released this year on Blu-ray. And I would say probably the best of all like the newer films on Blu-ray. It's better than The Bloodhound and Threshold. Those movies were hot garbage. I'll say it right now. The Stylist is actually a really cool little, I would say, slasher film that kind of reminds you a little bit of a giallo film, just the way the story develops. But you have this, basically this stylist, this character, this female character, and she's killing people. She's a hairdresser, but she keeps them over sometimes, and she murders them. And yeah, it goes into, she like has somebody that she befriends, and she tries to be her friend, but that goes south. And then it just develops into some really crazy, outlandish territory. But it's a really, really cool little slasher movie, and we don't really get a lot of those nowadays. So I would recommend The Stylist. I had a lot of fun with it from Arrow Video. So great artwork on there. That's awesome artwork for that release on the cover, and I'll show you the inside of it as well. And I think this one also comes with the soundtrack. So yeah, you get a soundtrack. We're actually getting CDs with these releases right now, so that's cool. You get right there, the disc art. You get a poster with this release as well. You get the reversible cover art. So the full treatment with Arrow Video, as always, they're just one of the best as far as like packaging. So right there, guys, you look at that. Yeah, this is just a really cool little movie about this hairdresser that kills people. You know, she scalps them. She's got a bunch of like people's hair and stuff like that. So it's a pretty wild movie. It's a pretty gory film as well. Like I said, you get those giallo vibes in there as well. So it's a pretty good movie. I recommend The Stylist, and you can get that right now on Amazon.com for $19.99. Of course, it's probably marked down for that Arrow sale this month, the Barnes & Noble sale. But on Amazon.com, I'm telling you, don't get it on Barnes & Noble because there is a coupon on Amazon for like $1.39. So you could probably get this for like $18.70. And that depends on if it's still going to be in effect when I put this video up. So all these deals could be time sensitive, so definitely jump on them as soon as possible. So the last one I'm going to recommend is a Vestron title. And Vestron's been absolutely killing it this year. They put out 4 titles already on Blu-ray, and it looks like they're going to be ramping things up. Candyman 3 was just announced, so lots of exciting things coming out from Vestron Video in the future. And this one right here is one that, probably the one that I enjoyed the most of the ones I watched this year, and that is Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat. So I think this one is super underrated. This is a really fun like vampire comedy, I would say. It's got Bruce Campbell in it. It's got David Carradine in it, you know, Bill from Kill Bill. Yeah, just a lot of really fun people, really fun performances. It's an interesting take on a vampire story. You know, you have this town of vampires that's drinking synthetic blood. They don't want to kill people. They're trying to, you know, advance the vampire race and as far as like their relationship with humanity. So they're trying not to kill people anymore. They're making synthetic blood. They've got laboratories and stuff making it. And then these other vampires come in, the bad vampires, of course, and they have a little war between them. But it has like some Western vibes to it because it's set out in like Nevada, New Mexico, around that area out there. You know, so it has that kind of like Western aesthetic and vibe to it. And yeah, it's just a really fun movie. It's got some good like creature effects in it as well. And I really enjoyed this one. I'd say out of all the Vesterons, I was on the fence with this one and the Wraith as far as like which one I was going to recommend. I didn't want to recommend them both because I was trying to represent multiple labels in this video. So I chose Sundown because I do think that of the two, the Wraith and Sundown, which I would recommend picking up the Wraith as well with Charlie Sheen. I think I enjoyed this one a little bit more. So I'll recommend Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat for sure. It's definitely one of the surprise movies that I bought this year on Blu-ray. So you can get Sundown right now. Like, these Vestron titles are super cheap. A lot of them you can still go into Walmart and pick up. I know I've seen Sundown on my Walmart shelves, like one of the only things that Walmart still carries in their Blu-ray section. There's like 10 copies of it. So you can probably still go into Walmart and get them for cheap. But right now, guys, you can get this on Amazon for $10.79. You cannot beat that price. And there's some really great special features in here as well. So I'll kind of zoom in and show you all those special features right there. So lots of great special features on there. Great packaging. Like, this artwork is absolutely killer. And yeah, I cannot recommend those Vestron titles enough. Just great packaging and super affordable as well. So with that, guys, we are done with 5 of the most underrated Blu-ray releases of 2021. I hope you all enjoyed that. Please, like I said, leave your recommendations down below. Let me know of all the 5 that I recommended. Which one will you pick up based on my recommendation? Also, be sure to like this video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all of those future videos. And we'll see you next time.